Hello, you're watching TVP World News. I'm Inaugurated. The Danish Presidency of the Council of the European Union will begin with an inauguration ceremony today in the town of Aarhus. Denmark has announced that its focus while leading the Council will be security, competitiveness and sustainability. A meeting between the Danish government and the European Commission is the first item on the agenda in Aarhus, followed by a press conference with Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Both leaders will then meet with the Danish King and Queen. Afterwards, the Commission will tour the port of Aarhus. Denmark took over the rotating EU presidency from Poland on the 1st of July. The country will hold the position until the 31st of December, after which the presidency will be handed over to Cyprus. 5 people have been injured, including 2 children, in an overnight Russian UAV attack on Odessa. The attack hit a multi-story residential building, destroying 6 apartments and damaging nearby infrastructure. According to the head of the Odessa military administration, the attack also partially damaged 36 apartments and prompted the evacuation of 50 residents. A 7-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl were hospitalized due to combustion product poisoning. 3 adults received medical aid on site. Later, one was transported to the nearest hospital. The city's mayor said the building's stairwells suffered significant damage, making it unsafe to inhabit. The U.S. Department of Defense has addressed the halting of air defense interceptor deliveries to Ukraine. The Pentagon's chief spokesperson, Parnell, said the decision is part of what he called a capability review. At the same time, U.S. officials did not specify what kind of weapons they are withholding from Kiev. The news of the decision to suspend deliveries sparked intense speculation about whether Washington wants to abandon Ukraine, just as Russia has ramped up intensity of its attacks in recent weeks.
The Department of Defense continues to provide the President with robust options regarding military aid to Ukraine, consistent with his goal of bringing this tragic war to an end. And at the same time, the department is rigorously examining and adapting its approach towards achieving this objective while also preserving U.S. military readiness and defense priorities that support the President's America First agenda. This capability review, and that's exactly what it is, it's a capability review, is being conducted to ensure U.S. military aid aligns with our defense priorities. And we will not be providing any updates to specific quantities or types of munitions being provided to Ukraine or the timelines associated with these transfers.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy has commented on the U.S. decision to withhold munitions used for air defense from Ukraine. The Ukrainian President said the 2 countries are holding technical-level discussions to clarify all details related to the deliveries.
Today, the Ukrainian Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs discussed matters including relations with the United States. Technical-level discussions between Ukraine and the US are ongoing to clarify all details related to the delivery of defense aid, especially air defense components. One way or another, we must ensure protection for our people.
The 3rd of July is Independence Day in Belarus, and dictator Alexander Lukashenko has taken the opportunity to release a number of political prisoners. While speaking to TVP World, Belarusian political scientist Alexander Papko said that the move is mainly intended to cozy up to the West in anticipation to new developments regarding the war between Ukraine and Russia.
In my opinion, Alexander Lukashenko sees that Vladimir Putin tries to freeze the war in Ukraine on his own terms, obviously. So he tries to put Ukraine into submission, but at the same time, Russia is also exhausted, and Vladimir Putin just wants to freeze the front lines at more or less present position and take a breath. And he wants from the United States to release some sanctions Alexander Lukashenko sees those movements. He sees that Russian market is shrinking, and it hits badly the economy of Belarus, which is critically dependent on Russia. And Alexander Lukashenko wants to join this process in order not to lag behind.
Today, the Polish parliament will sign into law a bill reinstating checks on the borders with Germany and Lithuania. This is a reciprocal move to border controls introduced by Berlin that is intended to minimize migrant trafficking from Lithuania. The border checks will begin on Monday. The Polish Deputy Interior Minister Czesław Mroczek explains what they will entail.
Some infrastructure to enable control will be put in place, but we are not reinstating permanent border control stations. We will certainly be stopping some cars, so there will probably be a slight slowdown of traffic. But as we will oversee the flow of migrants, we will do our utmost to avoid causing unnecessary obstruction to traffic.
The European Commission has, after a delay, presented its updated climate targets, including a 90% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions compared to the levels from the 1990s. While ambitious on paper, member countries and politicians are not too keen to adopt the new policy. Tomasz Włostowski of EU Strategies recently told TVP World that even though the Commission added measures to soften some of the consequences, there won't be much enthusiasm to implement the proposals.
A number of member states and politicians are very scared of this proposal because they understand that there has been a lot of misinformation about climate and climate mitigation, climate change mitigation, and fighting climate change. They understand that further restrictions and further climate sort of protection measures are not popular with the electorate, basically. They understand that. So they're very scared of this proposal. They're scared of how it will be portrayed. A number of big member states, well, Poland for one reason, as one example, is not very happy about this proposal, which, by the way, is exactly what was issued today. As we know, the Polish presidency just ended 2 days ago, and the reason why this proposal is coming out today is exactly so it didn't come out during the Polish presidency, because Polish government really does not like this proposal.
Serbian police have clashed with anti-government protesters in Belgrade after demonstrators blocked the streets of the capital, demanding the release of people detained during earlier demonstrations. In response to the protests, local authorities not only used riot police, but also halted public transport through the Serbian capital.
Protesters began gathering in the streets of Belgrade on Wednesday afternoon, with some detained by the Serbian police. Speaking to local media, organizers of the protests said the police officers used brutal methods of detention, even beating the demonstrators. To fend off the riot police, protesters threw chairs and other objects at the officers. While the protest was still ongoing, at 9 p.m. local time, Belgrade authorities suspended public transport in the city without notifying residents. Similar protests took place in other major cities of Serbia, such as Novi Sad, Niš, Valjevo and Novi Pazar. People protesting on the Serbian streets demand the release of their fellow protesters and early elections.
The Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency is committing 12.2 million euros towards boosting Ukraine's civilian cyber resilience. The activities will be implemented by the Estonian Centre for International Development.
The funding for cybersecurity is part of Sweden's support for security and stabilization in Ukraine. The funds will be used within the framework of the Tallinn mechanism, which is also supported by Poland, Canada, the US, UK and multiple other EU nations. In 2024 alone, Ukraine was subjected to over 4,300 cyber attacks with an average of 12 attacks each day, mainly from Russia. According to the Swedish agency, the attacks target civilian infrastructure, which threatens Ukraine's ability to function and provide basic services to citizens. The attacks also aim to sabotage, survey and influence popular opinion in Ukraine.
Turkey is not the only country battling wildfires. Overnight, a major fire broke out on the Greek island of Crete, near Ierapetra. According to local authorities, the blaze extends over at least 6 kilometers, making containment increasingly difficult.
Fanned by winds reaching 74 kilometers per hour, the fire quickly spread southwards, threatening homes, critical infrastructure and tourist accommodation. The scale of the blaze prompted authorities to close the main road near Ajafocha and urge residents to avoid all unnecessary travel due to hazardous air quality, extreme heat and falling ash. In a precautionary measure, all hospitals on the island have been put on high alert by Greek authorities. They have also ordered mass evacuations of hotels, rental rooms and homes in the Fama region as flames approach the area. So far, some 1,500 people have been evacuated to Inner Ierapetra, with 200 of the evacuees being sheltered in the town's indoor sports arena.
Poland's top tennis star Iga Świątek returns to centre court at Wimbledon this Thursday to face off American Katie McNally in the second round. This, as Kamil Majchrzak confidently defeated Ethan Quinn in the second round of Wimbledon 2025 on Wednesday. The Świątek match will be played at 2:30 p.m. Central European Time. The pair met once before at the senior level in 2022 in Ostrava, where Świątek came out on top. McNally, currently ranked 208th due to injury setbacks, entered the main draw using a protected ranking. Meanwhile, 3 other Polish players kick off their doubles campaigns. Jan Zieliński pairs with Czech Adam Pawlasek, Magda Linette joins forces with American counterpart Bernarda Pera, and Katarzyna Peter partners with Egypt's Maya Sherif. And that's all for now. Thank you for watching and please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news, updates and commentary.